basically, as far as remembrance is concerned, I want to quote a great sage, the founder of Hasidism, the Baal Shem Tov, the man of the good tape. So he lived in 1760, around about that time, somewhere in Moldova. And I just want to, want to make sure that I've got the right thing. So I know it off by heart, but let me just. I never like to quote anybody, especially this was many years ago, as you can imagine, as I said. But he said, "The remembrance is the secret of redemption. Forgetting leads to exile." And I've always gone by that maxim, because it's so terribly important to remember what happened, what shouldn't happen, and what can happen. So by remembering, all these different horrific things, or history in general, we should be able to try and make the world a better place. So as far as I am personally concerned, whether it's the Rwandan catastrophe, genocide, or whether it is the Shoah, every one of these, or the Rohingya at the moment, the Syrian refugees, the Uyghurs from China. I mean, it doesn't really matter. When people are suffering, you got to have empathy. You got to feel something for them. You got to remember, and you just, we were hoping that what they say, never again, but never again is happening all the time. It's all these different genocides and what is happening at the moment around the world. I mean, apart from the fact that there's so many people who are dying of hunger and looking for a place where they can be safe, from Africa and other places. All these different genocides that are happening, which some of them we don't even know. In Africa, there are a lot of things going on in Africa we don't even know about, because the news agencies don't go there. It's too dangerous, so they don't publicize it. And I would like it to stop, and that's why I think it's so important for Holocaust survivors and others, anybody who is a survivor of a genocide. For example, I was some years ago at a symposium seminar in Cape Town, where I spoke together with Rwandan refugees. And there was one of these young refugees who survived by hiding. He was actually hidden by a woman who was part of the other side. She wasn't the Tutsi, so she hid him, and he survived. His sister was actually studying in Cape Town at the university. And when he came, he was like 16 years old, and he wanted to give his testimony. He was so emotionally that he couldn't do it. It was his sister that had to talk for him, because he couldn't actually bring out what happened to him while he was being hidden and everybody else was being killed with machetes outside. And the things that she actually talked about was absolutely horrific. And I think these are the type of things that one must remember. I mean, the Shoah Foundation is now going around all over the world trying to take testimonies from people. They've been in Bangladesh to try and get testimonies from people who are being chased out of Myanmar or Burma, that used to be, and they've got me in contact with people who are living in Turkey, a Uyghur woman I've been corresponding with, and and kind of speaking about. I sent her my book, Memories in Focus, and so we kind to make it easier for her to try and cope with. And her sister lives in England, she's in Turkey, and her whole family is apparently in a concentration camp in China, where the Uyghurs are. And she's trying to find out. She can't even find out what is happening with their mother, father, and her other siblings. So the thing is that through education, through trying to teach, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, one should start teaching people from the age of 8, 9. I've been talking to youngsters at schools, 8, 9. They're quite capable of absorbing this information, depending how you put it forward. You can't just bring all these horrors to them. You've got to try and explain exactly what happened in a way that they can understand it and absorb it. But education, whether you talk to universities, where you talk to grown-up people, to adolescents or elderly people, whoever you talk to about, it is so terribly important for the future of the world to be able to learn about, as I said before, I'm just repeating myself, what happened, what shouldn't happen, and what happened, what shouldn't happen, and what one should do about it. Right. And that is terribly important. And it's only through educating. A lot of people feel that education is not allowed, that it goes into one ear, goes out the other. That's not true. If you find, if you start children at a very tender age to educate them about, humanity, about unfortunately at the moment everybody is so concerned about IT, and they all go around with their tablets and stuff like that, that humanities are being neglected. But humanities are terribly important. Art, singing, in other words, spiritual things are very important, because if we do not have spirituality, then we lose everything. We just become like automaton, we lose our humanity by not having morality, spirituality, and the only way you can learn that is through individual, personal things like music and art and talking and learning about the history, learning about things of humanity. I mean, I'm just repeating myself, but basically that's the way I feel about it. And this is why I continue of trying to educate youngsters. And what I do is, and I have developed a torch, which I think you know about. This torch, it's like an Olympic torch. The Olympic torch has only got one flame, and it's supposed to be a flame of goodwill among sportsmen. But my torch has got lots of flames, and some of them, like no homophobia flame, no xenophobia flame, no racial discrimination, no no religious discrimination, and above all, no hate, because hate is the most pernicious of all things. It kind of leads to all these other things. So hate must be eradicated. And so these flames I hand to these people, and I say, look, you go and spread these flames to everybody. Go home and give it to your parents, give it to your friends, and give them, each one carries these flames, and these flames must just, light up the world. It's in the Dead Sea Scrolls, we have the sons of lights and the sons of darkness, and they were always fighting amongst themselves. This is the story in the Dead Sea Scrolls. One of them in the scrolls is the story of the sons of light and the sons of darkness. So there was always this continuous strife between those two, and we hoped the son of light will prevail.